Captain on the bridge.
Alrighty, captains, we are back on the bridge, and today, yes, we get to review the 9th episode of Star Trek Lower Decks. So, on screen. Yes. So, captains, you know how it is. This is the 9th episode of season 3. So, what we're going to do is go over some of the shots. I'm not even say some. The shots I've taken from this episode, drop my 2 ECs along the way, and of course, give our conclusion. So, captains, I did take some notes here. This was a pretty good episode, I'm not going to lie. And I kind of feel that it was really trying to extend the story, especially one story arc that we've come across before. So, captains, you know I love this screen. You know I love this intro. We've even adapted it as our intro, borrowed maybe, just to say borrowed. But love it, always gets me in the feels. So there's that. Now, you know, captains, I appreciate these space shots, especially of the Cerritos, but get a good flyby here. And while this is happening, Captain Freeman is talking about the follow-up on like planetary missions that it's been approved by Starfleet. And again, just kind of a pass-by shot there. And she actually is talking to Admiral Buen Amigo, who is talking about this planetary mission follow-up. And apparently, if this works, they're going to be kind of run across all the California classes. So that was pretty cool, kind of shining what sort of the mission parameters of Lower Decks does. Kind of like the idea, and that's kind of what they've sort of ran on, and I appreciate that. I really do. In doing so, to log this sort of test mission, apparently there is going to be a reporter that is going to be joining them, and this reporter is going to catalog how this goes. And she's not happy about it, so she's telling everyone to sort of make sure everything's in order in their departments. Everyone starts laughing, and she's actually serious. Dr. Ta'an actually even swore. I swear, I love these moments. I get to laugh, and I just love and enjoy it. So they actually run out there. She's serious. I know I say this a lot, and I will say this a lot, but that's all I can describe it as. I love these animations of Lower Decks. It just kind of gives them the free range to sort of really accentuate or totally put an exclamation point on the faces that they make and really hammer the point. She's starting to twitch her. I love Captain Freeman. She's probably one of my favorite characters as well. Not like top 5, obviously, but she's up there. I think she's done a great job. The voice actress has done a great job portraying her as a captain. But the episode is called Trusted Sources. And again, of course, another shot of the Cerritos. I like this shot, actually. I really do. It's a great looking shot of the side profile, and the way that the light shining on the Cerritos is awesome. But there's a shuttle flying in, and it's the reporter. It is the reporter coming in. You can tell that they've been cleaning up. There's a certain shine on the USS Cerritos. So what the mission is, her, Captain Freeman, and Ransom are going over the mission parameters. But apparently, when Captain Freeman was talking to Admiral Buenamigos, this was the planet that Captain Picard name drop. That was a name drop, but it was a name drop of Captain Picard, who made first contact with the Onarans 17 years ago. And of course, we know that this timeline is obviously the same and after Nemesis, so they're saying literally this was 17 years ago. And just kind of Ransom going over the parameters of Onara. There's a plague happening there, and the solution to that, or the antidote, was Felicium, but that was found in Brekka. Brekka people were given the medicine to them, but apparently really kind of left the Onarans in a really bad state. Even though it was cured, it kind of just messed with them, and they kind of exploited it. And when, of course, they're saying that, you know, Picard just kind of left, and when he came back, found them in that position. But Picard's sort of recommendation was just to cut communication between the two planets. I love how they showed the Enterprise. Yes! Woohoo! Anytime you can name drop and show the aft of the Enterprise. What? Sorry. So that was kind of cool. Kind of the backstory there. But her, of course, worry is about this reporter. Now, having said that, guess who comes across? Well, there is Mariner. Now, I will say 100% Mariner shined in this episode. She really did. The others have been shining a lot more. And captains, you know, if you've been following my reviews on this, especially Tendi, and for the most part, Mariner here has been really doing a good job here. And I found that for the most part, it wasn't overboard. That was the one thing that I absolutely love. Actually, captains, I forgot to turn this on. Let's turn this on. I absolutely love it. And we'll turn the reviews down on because I actually like hearing that. But she is getting ready for a pie eating contest, apparently. And of course, what is she doing? Right after the orders is to clean the ship, what is she doing? Walking around with blueberry pie all over the place on her foots. Like, look at that, leaving the footsteps. But apparently, there's a pie eating contest, and Captain Freeman is just not happy about it. You can tell. And even the turbo lift had blueberry in it. But Captain Freeman tells Ransom to just kind of reassign them so that they can kind of sort of stay out of the way, and that's what he does. And apparently, there you go. How could she not notice a blueberry? But you saw Captain Freeman walking the reporter around, and there are the main characters, of course, Boimler, Mariner, Andy, and Rutherford, talking about what's happening. But apparently their shifts got changed with Alpha shift, apparently. So in order to, again, keep them out of the way of the reporter. But you can tell Carol was acting sort of uncomfortable, but the reporter was actually loving the view here. And then, of course, Mariner stepped up. You can tell Mariner stepped up to the reporter, kind of giving her a sort of tour, or offering a tour, because she's saying that no one knows it better than Lower Decks, and for Captain Freeman was just not having it. Like, you should be going to bed. And there was some banter between the two, and you can tell the reporter is just kind of observing. Of course, she's observing all of this, and this is all being recorded, so this is going to go all into her log there. But she says, hey, you guys should be going to bed. So it turns off the lights on them, and she just keeps going. Now they go to the pie eating contest, but it's been canceled because Captain Freeman doesn't want that. So they go in. Rutherford is losing his ever-loving mind because apparently he was prepping and he stretched his stomach and all that. They go in there. Boimler's even saying, hey, this is like the biggest thing and what's going on here. But of course, you know, Mariner's actually defending the captain, her mom, and appreciated that. But they're taking down everything. Now, that was awesome. They have like this garbage can or garbage replicator. I don't know what you call it. No, I guess it's not a replicator or whatever, but they're dumping the pies and everything in it. And it was disintegrating or destroying it. But they were ordered to take it down because it's not happening. And Rutherford's moment in this episode to shine here was just saying he wanted the pie. You can tell they weren't happy about it. But it's like, please, I need the pie. It's like, no, I can't do that. This officer was hilarious. And it's like, then shoot me. Here's the thing, captains, I am like LOLing when I'm watching Lower Decks. I'm just enjoying it for what it is. It's the silliness of it. You know, if you kind of compare this to in real life, you'll have moments of just hilarity. Not everything is serious, so I can totally appreciate, and that's why maybe I totally appreciate Lower Decks, and I love it the way I do, or enjoy it, because it's just fun. I mean, let's just be honest, captains, it's all not real. This is all just for enjoyment, entertainment, and this is why we choose to lean into it. Another beauty pass shot of the Cerritos by. So now the interview starts. So this is Ensign Barnes here. Rutherford's, I don't know if they're still going out, or I'm not sure, but the interviews are starting here. with the reporter. Now, of course, Lieutenant Keishan's also talking to the reporter. Even actually interviewed the Cedians. Katie, I can't remember. I know the names. My apologies. Yeah, comment below if you know. But I love how they're just totally giving the subtitles there. I thought that was pretty cool. That was pretty light-hearted moments. And of course, when it comes to Ransom, he's like, I feel I can open up to you or whatever. And she's like, yeah, okay, yeah. So you can tell he's going to be in full creep-on mode to the reporter here, and it actually manifests itself throughout the whole time. So they actually they were going to go to the bar, but that's where the interviews are being held, and they're called the Commander's Lounge or whatever now. And the security officer posted outside was telling them, you know, it's only the senior staff or whatever's being interviewed. But when the door opens, they see Mariner finds Chet's being interviewed, the lower decker too, but apparently it's only hand-picked one or approved ones by the captain, because of course the captain wants to make a good impression on the reporter, and that of course pisses Mariner off. She's saying that this is not really how the Cerritos is, and she is now in a mission to tell the truth. To tell the truth. So, again, these callbacks to TNG when they're just sort of showing these moments of the ship out on orbit. Now, of course, now we have Ornara. I might have said that wrong earlier, but Ornara there. And that was pretty cool, but they reached the planet there. Again, everything that they do is being recorded here. So this first away team to the Ornara, the Ransom, Freeman, the reporter, and Chet here. Kind of cool. The sound, when I heard the transporter sound, I don't know why, but it just brought me back to TNG. Everything is, there's a nostalgia nuggets here, Captains, 100%, and I was here for it. I enjoyed it. I loved it. But so they go down to the planet, and they're kind of surprised to see what's going on here, because they're thinking that, you know, they were kind of left in that state there, but, you know, they're actually then greeted by I believe the first magistrate is what they were saying themselves, and it was Benir, the local magistrate, who greeted them. And of course, Carol goes into sort of interview mode, and you could tell she's looking at the camera and everything, and the magistrate says, oh no, you know what, we're good, we're all good. The best thing, Picard was right. Again, name dropping, just name dropping Picard there. That was pretty cool, saying, you know, Picard's name here and there. And of course, so much so that they made a mural. So this was, I really did enjoy this, because one, it showed the Enterprise. I don't know why, but it's just Captains, the Galaxy class, the Enterprise D, my first love. Can't help it. Anytime I get to see her in any form, especially in another sort of show in Star Trek universe, I'm all for it. So they left them, and then when they did leave, apparently, yeah, they all lost their minds. I thought this was pretty dark and funny at the same time. You can see them fighting each other, but apparently they got over it, and it took them about 10 to 14 years, I think is what he said. And then they found their new addiction, which was being fit, keeping fit there. So, you know, you can see here Captain Freeman sort of just going, whoa, you know, this is not what she expected, because what they wanted for this was to really have this program go off and be where they come back and help again, you know, offer the help, offer anything to the planets here for the follow-up. But no, then of course Ransom starts talking to them about working out and stuff like that, but they really didn't need anything, so they were okay. And he's like, well, you know what, I'm late for my 10K, and he just literally goes off to run for his 10K. Another shot of the mirror there. I thought this was a really cool shot here, but again, it really shows how this sort of planet evolved since that last, or first contact, I should say. And again, the reporter's asking Freeman. She's not impressed with the situation, so she actually grabs the camera and says she got to take a call. And of course, Ransom takes this opportunity to creep on the reporter. But Carol calls Buenamigo. Admiral Buenamigo says everything's fine here. Picard was right. Again, name drop. Picard. There you go. And they had to kind of find out something, or this whole program of follow-up that Captain Freeman's working on is gonna like not go well. He even goes as far as say kind of go check out their government, but Freeman's like, no, they're good. But he does suggest to go to the sister planet of Brekka. So that's kind of what they do. They can head out to Brekka. Of course, you can see still the unimpressed reporter with Ransom. But that is what then now Captain Freeman says is, hey, no, we're going to go to Brekka as planned. So they transport out. Now you see again this individual just kind of running here. So this is kind of, again, the state of this planet since the last, yes, it got worse, or it did go worse, but then it got better. And now they're going to see what Brekka is all about. And there's another shot. Again, I just appreciate these. It's just these shots in between storylines within the episodes. Just even because this is a shorter. These are shorter episodes, and I don't know. These break it up for me and kind of sets me sort of mentally to go to the next shot, and I quite enjoy that. Now, the reporter's going back to her room, and now she is met by Mariner, who's waiting and actually wants to offer her sort of truth to the reporter. But the reporter was going to just about to go see the captain, but decides, yeah, okay, let's talk. And unfortunately, Ransom actually sees Mariner go into the reporter's room, and here Captain Freeman's actually getting ready for the interview, and she's kind of tidying up her desk. Again, Ransom saw this, so keep that in mind, Caps. Now, after going back to Freeman, here she's like trying to put Mariner's picture on there, and this does play kind of a part here as we go on. And she hears the doorbell. You can tell she's trying to play this up as much as she can, hence why she's doing things with Mariner and just to try to keep her out of the way. But unfortunately, she's already talked to the reporter, and the reporter asks, hey, is it a good time? Kind of sits on her desk, props herself up, and she's like, yeah, okay, let's go. Now she's being interviewed now, and now she goes over her findings thus far. Now she's saying, Captain Freeman is saying, hey, I run a good ship. And she's like, that's not what she's kind of finding out. And she's saying even things have been chaotic, responsible, silly. And then she goes through stories like her in the first officer, like of what she's been told. First officer, one of the officers were turned into of course, Ransom was turned into a giant head. Remember that episode there? I think that was back in season 2, I believe. Season 1, maybe. Left. And then, of course, that Captain Freeman left her post to take some engineering to the spa trip. You remember that episode? And that's where, of course, Freeman lost her mind, and she was told that, where she had an emotional breakdown. And then she even goes back to that episode where, of course, she's taken off and embarrassed there. It's like, where did you hear that about her breaking down? The Dupplers, where she actually transported them into a part that she wasn't invited. And she just keeps going on the list. Talks about the sort of drill sergeant there, the Pandoran drill instructor, I should say, had a poly heart attack. I kind of forgot about this, but it was hilarious. Of course, the head of security being turned into a puppet. And then she kind of just, again, keeps going on the list there while she's talking to her. And the things that she mentioned as well, like there's spear-wielding aliens who took over the ship. Quark was kidnapped, and then something about the Q. So Q's name was dropped. So I thought that was cool. Of course, the first instinct for her is what? She looks over to the picture of Mariner, and now she is pissed. She is not happy. So we can now imagine that Mariner is being called to the office here, and everyone is just not happy with her. You can tell with everyone's expression with her. She even walks into the office, and she's acting like she doesn't know why she's being called into the office. But nope, Captain Freeman is pissed. Of course, Ransom says, I saw you go into the room. the reporter, and Carol actually just shouts, "What the hell were you thinking?" And she's just really mad. And again, Mariner's just kind of like trying to tell the truth. Again, just tell the truth. But as you look, you can tell here. I noticed this, that she put Beckett's picture down here. I thought that was oof. But apparently, what happens next is she is actually gonna get transferred to Starbase 80. And even Ransom's like, "Are you what?" And like she was serious. Like she was serious, and even went so far as say, I can't even. You're not my problem anymore. I can't call you you're not part of this crew. Not even call her daughter. That was pretty harsh. And you can tell how sad she was. And again, Ransom's still in shock. He didn't even actually expect that. So, of course, that pisses her off, and she is not in the mood. Now, she gets transferred. She's going to be transferred to Starbase 80, and she already requested that. And now this shuttle, kind of cool. They got another shot there of the Cerritos there. Again, they were nailing these shots for the Cerritos. I really do appreciate them. Now she's going down. Of course, she's walking towards, to get her stuff or whatever. And she comes across Shax and Barnes, and they're kind of like make us look like fools and everything. And I think it was Levy or whatever. What she did was pretty cold. Now she finds Jennifer, and this was pretty harsh. Now Jennifer and her have a relationship, and she was not having any of it because, yeah, she's saying everyone's trying to put their best foot forward, and here's Mariner just kind of taking it too far and actually like really just laying into her. Is here, have your candle back. And she feels like she's losing her mind and kind of goes off on her a little bit. But like you can tell Mariner was really upset. He's like, "You have to believe me." He's like, "No, I can't really believe you." And then there's an announcement from Captain Freeman saying no longer to communicate with Mariner. And she kind of gives back the candle, but she's walking away and she's crying. So I really kind of felt for Mariner. I really did. And this is why I said this episode was definitely for her, and she was shining 100% here. And she gets back to her crew, orders here, she's packing, and she's just saying to everyone, like, this is kind of how it is, let's not say goodbye. And, Bobby's like, "You've done worse." It's like, "Nah, how it is." And she kind of like says goodbye. She's done. And she kind of does the Vulcan salute thing and, LLaP, and so she heads over to the shuttle bay there, looks at the Cerritos, kind of sad. And then we get a shot of this shuttle. Now, captains, you remember this shuttle is what we saw in Star Trek The Next Generation. So kind of cool. Again, the nostalgia nuggets were real here. Not necessarily a lot, but it was still a lot, if that makes sense. You name drop Picard, you name drop Q, and now you're sprinkling these little things in here like this shuttle that we all know what this is, especially if you watch Star Trek The Next Generation. And you know what? It is what it is. I don't mind it. I loved it. Instantly recognized it. So that was pretty cool. And of course, she does. There's another shot of the shuttle there, or what I call the little shuttle. And you can tell the size difference between that and the bigger, newer shuttles. But she transfers over, and this is dead serious. She's being transferred. She's actually leaving the Cerritos here. And so she's given her uniform, and before actually got there, the two were arguing about his lost sandwich, and Mariner was giving her jumpsuit. And when she folds it, the sandwich comes out, and the guy takes it. Kind of gross. And so they're all gonna go, and it's kind of a crampy ride. There's more room in the back. I don't really see why you sit in the front, but and they're just kind of showing the details of this shuttle, and to make sure that we remember it. She did. So off it goes there. I guess they have an open shuttle bay. I'm trying to remember if I've actually seen the shuttle bay close. I have to go back to the episodes, but captains, let me know if you've ever seen the shuttle bay open or close. I can't remember, but Again, there's the shuttle leaving the Cerritos and them seeing it off. Of course, Captain Freeman just orders continue on to Brecca. And this shot here where you see the shuttle sort of warp to the left, and you see the Cerritos kind of go off to the right was, yeah, kind of signifying that, you know, they're parting ways, that this was real. Like, Captain Freeman was not happy. Definitely not happy. And again, lovely shot, ship coming into orbit of Brecca. You can see how far the planet was. Onara, it's not that far. They're not that far from each other, but you can different colors there. So, and they're gonna go to the surface there with their Porter, Shax, and Ransom, and she leaves Dr. Miglimu in charge. So the doctor is in charge there, and one of his first order is to call his Mima, his mom. My gosh. Boimler's like, yes, sir. But there you go. They head down to the planet. Now, I thought this was cool. They didn't have to add these details of these sort of flyers here, whatever they are, shuttles, vehicles of the planet. Love the atmosphere. I really did love the atmosphere, but you can tell it was a different tone change here. Even the color muted everything down. But you see the discussion between the reporter and Captain Freeman here saying, you know what, you know, we should be focused on the follow-up mission there. And she's like, well, Onar was kind of dead, so hopefully something happens here. Ta'an is actually with them as well. And you can see, again, everything's being recorded, so Freeman's kind of, her whole MO here was just to make sure that this mission is a success, because she wants to be the one heading up this project where it's going to get recognition, of course, all over Starfleet, especially ones that the Cerritos classes will lead up. I like that. I really did. But of course, you can tell this was driving her absolutely mad. And she wasn't really being herself. You know, she was being kind of fake. I'll just say she's being kind of fake. But there's no sign of people here. And they're just see papers kind of floating across there, the air, signifying there is just no one there. So they kind of wonder why. But of course, in one of the buildings there, you see this figure kind of run across the screen, and they kind of split up, but with their phasers. Now, Ransom finds someone here and say, hey, I'm with Starfleet, and she's like, you shouldn't be here, or something like that to effect. And all of a sudden, she gets zapped by the Breen. Holy cow. Like, I didn't expect this. I didn't expect the Breen to be here. And apparently, you know, they started firing, of course, at Ransom, and they're saying, yep, no, he contacted Freeman to say, hey, listen, the Breen are here. They shot this generator here, and that actually did cause an explosion. But you see them here. Like, there's a lot of them, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them in this shot alone. But they shoot that sort of generate power source, and that explodes. Ransom does get out in time. But then when Freeman looks up, you can see all these green lights. Well, that's actually their sort of eyes up from their helmet there. So they're all there watching them. And then they start getting into a firefight with them. I thought this was cool. It's on just like aiming up there. And now usually at a point where you're below and you're being fired upon from the top, the ones at the top there are normally ones that have the advantage. So I thought this was really cool. The music, again, the music I really do enjoy. They know how to change the scene. They know how to make sort of fight music, make it heartwarming. They all throughout the whole season. But they do ask for emergency transport. Captain Freeman does. Again, right before that thing does explode, but they make it onto the bridge. He moves on the phone with Mima, and this was hilarious. Just kind of a shot of Mima there knitting and Miglimu right there. So, but Freeman orders Boimler to get as much distance from the planet as possible. But then, of course, they are being pursued by the Breen, and there's an impact warning there. And they're being pursued by the cruisers, by the attack cruisers here by them. You can see a phaser shooting there from the aft. And I believe I was corrected by one captain on the episode there, where I did, or a video where I did a video build for the Cerritos in Star Trek Online. And that particular scene I was drawing inspiration from for the build, I just used all forward firing arcs because I didn't see in that specific scene a rear firing phaser. Well, yes, I was corrected in an episode that we did a review on where I didn't see one. I know they did fire one. I'm pretty sure, as I said at that time, I didn't see, but I mean, we all know that there should be some coverage of phaser armaments on from the aft. So, but yeah, they're being pursued by 3 of the Marines. I thought this was a cool shot. They were using lens flares. Captains, there was lens flares. So I thought this was cool. I'm pretty sure what I'm going to do with this one is cut it up and put it on stream here when I go on next there so that we can just kind of talk and discuss about that. But this is a cool looking shot. You can see these ships. I haven't seen them since DS9. So again, nostalgia nugget there. To just bring in the Breen there. See them pursuing the Cerritos. This sequence was absolutely insane. I loved this sequence and just was all for it. But you can see the Breen there now firing on the Cerritos and fires this. I forget the name of this, but this actually disabled. They did fire this on the Defiant there in DS9 that disabled systems, and they used it on the Cerritos, which shut down, or starting to shut down, I should say, even though they had their shields up. And they're even saying that the shield, Barnes is saying the shields are failing. There you see the Cerritos again firing phaser. I took a bunch of screenshots of this fight sequence because I thought it was pretty cool. And you see them firing again at the Cerritos, which again takes them off now. Captain Freeman orders a photon full spread. Love that. I'm probably going to take that sound command and use it there on the Twitch bridge because that's always awesome. Now, for some reason, this felt very different in animation. Like it just didn't seem, I don't know. It felt kind of old school sort of animation, if that makes sense. I don't know. It just really did. But anyways, it was a full spread, and apparently the Breen just kind of shot it all out. Took the whole 6 torpedoes that they fired and nullified them. Another shot there of the Breen there. I thought that was a really cool, nice shot there. Like the how they chose not only the angles and how the ships were kind of moving, also the music I thought was pretty cool. Setting the mood once again. They fired something else. Again, probably another sort of kinetic weapon at the Cerritos, which actually connects because their shields are gone, and it actually pierces through the hull. So much so, I'm guessing that these instances. You know what I haven't heard from any of the episode or fights, that if there's any crewmen that have died. Usually you kind of hear that when they report or damage report, but I don't think I've ever heard that. But you can see here again that the situation is pretty dire for the crew here, and now they're being surrounded by them. And Shaxx is wondering what's happening, why they're not finishing them off. They get hailed there, and this is a big green noise here from the Breen, but they're saying they're going to get boarded. Now, it's weird. Why would you get boarded when they can just beam over? So I didn't understand that, but apparently they're going to get boarded. Shot there of the Breen ship there, but this ship fires a sort of docking device, I guess you can call it, right onto the hull of the Cerritos there, and it is met there, shot of the Breen lens flare, by Shaxx, Kayshawn, another officer there. And Boyman said there's another incoming starship right before the Breen get to actually come in, and this particular ship here that sent the docking piece to the Cerritos, it gets blasted from like a phaser shot, like one phaser shot. Now you could say that this got weakened possibly by the Cerritos and its sort of firefight that took place earlier, but there was no visible damage here, and that one phaser shot took this ship out, and the ship actually came in and destroyed the Breen that we're about to board, which you can tell it was melting through the glass there. And it's a new ship. Captains, we get a new ship. I'll give my thoughts on it in a bit, but apparently they don't know anything about it. They don't know what type of ship it is. There's no information on it when they try to see what it is. I might actually use this view too here. I thought this is pretty cool. But you can see there it's a saucer with the nacelles. Essentially, that's it. Saucer with nacelles. And of course, this brings and harks me back to the Nova style saucer there. And even Captain Freeman didn't even recognize what ship it was. Now, this is the sequence that I lost my mind. It was pretty good. The music, how it played out, the scripting of the fight, I thought it was really cool. And even the Breen, even the Breen's like, what's that? And you can see a shot here of the bridge there. I thought this was pretty cool. But then everybody else was like, I don't know. But now the one ship, so there's only 2 ships now left, and they're now going to engage this ship here. I tried to take some shots here of it in action. It's kind of hard here, but we get a clean shot of the underside of this ship. Again, it reminds me of the Nova here. Vibes of the ship I've seen before. I'm not sure if it's a fan or I've seen ships on the line calendar from Star Trek, but like the Bonaventure class, like a TOS type, where the nacelles are above. But again, there's no secondary hull here. And again, I'll have my more breakdown on this ship here as we go along. But again, cool sequence there, now being chased by, of course, the Breen there. And then in this sequence here, it goes from sort of looking to the aft. You see a phaser being shot there. Now, I know, shout out to Trek Yards, one of my favorite Star Trek channels that cover like a lot of ships, said that did not shoot a photon torpedo in the, either from the aft, but it did shoot a photon torpedo. But if I misheard, not really, not a big deal. But when I heard, because I was listening to it when I saw this episode, but there's a photon fired there, and it looked like it came from the side too, but it was just kind of a weird. But again, it's just trying to show you what its armaments are. So it shot a phaser from the aft, a photon torpedo. It looked different in terms of how it looked compared to the full spread that came from the Cerritos. But again, it looked different. That full spread looked different from the other sort of episodes we saw the Cerritos fire photon torpedoes. So I think what they're trying to do is make an emphasis here that this ship is meant to fight. So that one photon torpedo took out that Breen ship. One photon torpedo, apparently. So that might be a different modified photon torpedo. Again, don't know why they're not using quantum torpedoes. Obviously, we know that the Federation does have quantum torpedoes. There's a cool shot. This actually, this shot here, the ship kind of came out of the flames. That was a pretty cool shot. There's another shot. So this ship has, like, I believe that's a phaser strip, but phasers were firing here from the tips here. What I mean, the nacelles are attached there on the saucer, but there's 3 deflectors there. Now, that'll probably come in, to play later in a bit when it gets revealed what type of ship this is. There's another shot of it there. Again, we'll probably turn this around and put that on screen there on sort of probably a thumbnail of some sort. But you see now the Breen has turned its attention to the Cerritos, and you see this ship trying to fire. So again, that phaser's firing from the tip there. So kind of, again, I'm not taking this too seriously where these phasers are coming from, but I'm just saying this shot, it looks like, at least it looks like it's coming from the tip of the ship there. And now it starts chasing the Breen ship because it's heading towards the Cerritos. There you get a shot of the nacelles here. Again, you got the grills there, but you also have now impulse engines at the end of the warp nacelles, which actually even the Sovereign had too. So sure, mind you, that you would think that is, even though it was a holodeck program, that's actually what is now a thing there. But they might just be putting these extra impulse engines here just for the sake of animation. So yeah, and but looking around. Boris Boimler has his moment here of his voice breaking almost. I just love, but he said they're going to ram us now. But then now you see this ship. Again, some lens flare happening here. Some lens flare action. Firing on the Breen ship as it's speeding towards the Cerritos there. I thought, again, this sequence was pretty cool. Where it was coming from. And then you can see another shot here from the side of the Breen ship where the phasers were hitting from behind enough so that it made it explode. Of course, What do ships do when there's an explosion? They fly through it. Yes, I love that sequence. I love this sequence when the ship flied through the explosion. Very Star Trek feel to me. I love also doing that in Star Trek Online. Captains, if you don't know, I am a Star Trek Online content creator first and foremost, but now we're doing this because this is just giving us so much enjoyment to share with you fellow caps here on the bridge. But anyways, flies through the explosion there. Get a little closer shot of the ship there. Swooping around there. They really wanted to emphasize the ship, obviously. And you can see, so the 3 deflector glows were on top of the ship. I don't know why they didn't have one below. So that was just kind of, why not put one below? I think that would have made a little bit more sense to me, at least, and then just have maybe 2 at the top. But sure, I don't know if this is maybe like an extra just storage area. It's a smaller ship, obviously, but there's that. And of course, everyone gets a sigh of relief here. And they try hailing the ship because Captain Freeman wants to thank them, but they being told that there's no life signs on that ship at all. But they're also getting incoming transmission from Admiral Buenamigo. And they saying that gladly they made it in time, but they're not on the ship. These ships are automated now. This is the USS Alito. Now it's a Texas class ship. Love this schematic. Apparently he declassified it right then and there. This is a schematic now of the sort of what they showed on screen. Now they get to see it now. USS Alito, Texas class. I wish we could have seen here the armaments. That would have been really cool. But apparently this is one of 3 new Federation starships that are fully automated. And then again, maybe that's why the deflector is there. I would have probably wanted the middle and that bottom one there, deflector, and maybe move the top one to the bottom to what we're used to, or what I'm used to. But it's a good looking ship. I'm not necessarily against it. Now, you know, my thing is, would it come, if it comes to Star Trek Online, probably will come to Star Trek Online if I'm going to get it. I'm not sure yet. I'd like to get more information, but not sure if we're going to see it again. So far, I have all the ships from the lower decks in Star Trek Online. I might just get this because of the love of the show, because it is a new Federation ship, and this is, you know, the brand new shiny for us. But we got to see it in action. I was really liking it. Phasers, photons. I wish it would have fired some quantum torpedoes, but it is what it is. And of course, the reporter takes a sort of liking to the ship, and of course, Admiral Buenamigo starts talking to the reporter about the ship, and Captain Freeman's like, "What is going on?" She swore. "What is bleeping going on?" And Ransom's like, "Well, this is a good thing for the project that she's been working on." But now, here comes the actual report. And it threw me off. It literally is. So they're called FNN Presents. Well, FNN, we all know what the playoff is, CNN. Starfleet's shame, a Victoria News expose. So what has happened in the interviews is, here you can tell she starts talking about the crew here, but all those stories about the engineering going to spa, the captain losing their mind, that came from Ensign Barnes. And then they did this whole like little dramatic thing. I thought that was pretty cool to show sort of some emphasis on what they were talking about. Even Lieutenant Kayshawn was saying, yeah, turn into a puppet. So they were the ones, these interviews from the other officers were the ones telling all these stories that she took and brought to Captain Freeman, the reporter did. Even Shax was the one who said Quark got kidnapped. It was him. And he even mentioned his scream. Yes! I love that scream. When that scream happened, when that episode there with DS9, I lost my mind. That was awesome. And he even tried to scream there, and he even forgot what to talk about. But the one bright spot of these interviews was actually Mariner, who wasn't even supposed to get interviewed. But she was talking about how this was the best crew and best captain, her mom. But then, of course, Victoria says, this is what happened to her. She got shipped off for talking to the reporter, for talking to her. And then she ends it off with FNN presents Starfleet Shame, you know, again, with Captain Freeman there being questioned if she's a good captain or not. So it was just kind of, to me, it threw me off. I thought it was her. I did, because, and that's why she was acting the way she was, though. So, you know, now, of course, everyone sees it. Everyone knows it wasn't her. And again, why is this guy always walking around without clothes? Dude, Baron, stop it. But yeah, no, everyone's starting to feel bad now, especially Captain Freeman, because she tries to reach out to Mariner contacting Starbase 80. Yet then apparently they're dealing with a bat situation. But she wants to talk to Beckett, and apparently she's resigned. Gave her phaser, her comm badge. And she's like, you know, guy gets hit with a bat, and they swap the screen there. Of course, now she's wondering where Mariner is. And of course, the next shot we get here is this ship here. Another new ship that we're seeing. Or at least, I don't think I've seen this one before. But this ship is where Mariner's at with... Who is this? Aberdeen. Petra Aberdeen. So she was from episode, I believe it was episode 5, Reflections. And this is where she actually, the end of that episode is she was offering Mariner to join her, right? Because she was ex-Starfleet and she's kind of now on her own, kind of hunting artifacts or whatever. But this is where Mariner is now. And this is episode 9, so there's one more episode left in this season. So I don't know how they're gonna close this off, but I'm really interested to see. But this is where Mariner is now. She's gonna be with Aberdeen there, and she's kind of her normal self at this point, you know. But she's probably suppressing how she felt, because she was hurt. She was really hurt, and she really did not understand why everyone was downing on her. But now, of course, we do. And I was just trying to take some more shots of this interesting looking ship here. It had like one warp nacelle, and I believe that's like a kind of a pirate looking thing there or whatever. But so yeah, there's episode 9, captains. I'd have to give this score wise. If I'm gonna be, it's like 8.5, but it was really good. Especially the space pew-pews. Captains, you know I love my space pew-pews, and it had that. So it was good in that sense, and for the most part, it really was emphasizing Mariner, and of course, kind of the dynamic she brought to the crew in terms of her being her, but so much so that everyone thought it was her that ratted everyone out, but apparently it was the crew that didn't even know they were doing. They were just talking to the reporter. And so, again, I'd still say 1, 2, 5, and 6 are the strongest episodes. I'd have to put this after that. So episode 9 would, again, I'd probably give it an 8.75. Again, now my score could change, but it's still a really solid episode. I really did. It had a lot of good things in it. Like I said, the nostalgia nuggets, the name drops from Picard and Q, and then you had the ship pew pew battle, the new ship, Texas class, the USS Alita, 1 of 3. So hopefully we get to see that. So again, episode 10 is happening this week. As of this video drops, it's going to be Monday, but this is going to new episode is going to be this week. So as you can tell, I'm kind of excited, but I'm also wondering how they're going to sort of resolve all of this in the last episode. So does Mariner come back? Is there going to be a fight scene, a pew pew scene? How is this all going to play out? You know, so regardless, again, I think a really good episode. If I'm again going to score this so far, 1, 2, 5, 6, this is going to come in right after there, and that's not necessarily in order, but this was a very, very good episode. I enjoyed it. I had some lulls. The name drops were awesome. So the nostalgia nuggets were plenty, very Lower Deck style. So there you go, captains. So like the video, captains. Comment below. Let us know what you thought of this episode. I'm curious. And what did you think of the new ship there, the Texas class? Let us know. And it's, of course, subscribe here to the YouTube Bridge. And yes, once we watch episode 10, we are going to give our thoughts. We're going to drop our 2 ECs, and then what we'll do is a follow-up video kind of talking probably about all the episodes, and then probably do a ranking like I did with Strange New Worlds. But there you go, Captains. Again, thank you so much for watching these reviews. These have been really fun for me to do. It just gives me a chance to go over the episode and just kind of rewatch it and look for little things that I've missed on the initial watch. But Captains, thank you once again, and we will leave it on this note.
Live long and prosper.